Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy Man. For today's video, we got a video about Sporting Logically titled Exposing Every NBA Team for 2022, man. So these are always fun videos just because, we always spend so much time focusing on the positive aspects of our team. Well, sometimes it's good to be humble and say, hey, we kind of got to work on this too, right? So let's check this out. Remember, guys, it's all for fun and stuff like that, so don't get too offended or nothing like that. Let's get them in.
We're going to get really negative today. In this video, I'm pointing out the flaws for every single team in the league this year and why they're going to end up being bad this season. Now, obviously, I don't think that every single team in the league is going to be bad this year, so some of these are my real opinions and others are a bit more dramatic. I'll leave it up to you to figure out which are which. We begin with the Boston Celtics, who already are dealing with health issues. Danilo Gallinari is already injured. Their main addition this offseason was Malcolm Brogdon, who has really struggled to stay on the floor for the last couple of seasons, and it's very easy to see a scenario where they're not healthy. They don't start the season that well, and then we start to see the old Celtics once again. Keep in mind that 10 months ago, this was a team that everybody kind of thought was going nowhere before they turned their season around. They could pretty easily get back to that point if they struggle with injuries. Next up now, the Toronto Raptors, they could have had Kevin Durant. I really believe that if they offered Scotty Barnes in a trade package in exchange for Kevin Durant, they could.
Oh, I thought he was making a draft joke. Okay.
At him. And now they go into this season with Barnes, who I love, and a couple of other guys that are, interesting. Siakam, Van Fleet, some of the other younger guys on the roster. But where's the offense coming from? Where's the top tier talent on this roster to push you towards being championship contenders? If that doesn't show itself and Scotty doesn't take a step forward offensively, they're just going to be another average team again. Next up, Detroit. This is the hopeful team for this season, I feel like, where everybody's like, oh, they're going to be good. They added another guard alongside Cade. I really like Cade. I think Ivy's going to be good. However, we're probably a little bit too ahead of ourselves. Like, the rest of the roster is not that filled out. They don't have great depth around some of their young guys. They're probably just going to be another tanking team this year.
Wait. No depth? Man, we got Killian Hayes on the bench. We got Alec Burks. Nerlens takes no L's. I call him Nerlens W. I don't call him that, and I never will either. It's the only time I'll ever say that ever in the history of my life. Yeah, this one's for sure. Okay, I will say. Okay, let me be a realist here with my team. Ivy, I think, is going to be great. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for him to incorporate to maybe the speed of the NBA game and, being an 82 game season and stuff like that. So, okay, I will say that.
I will remind you again, after I'm sure triggering the last three fan bases, these aren't necessarily real opinions. Next up now, the LA Lakers. You have Patrick Beverley and Russell Westbrook on the same basketball team, and supposedly they're going to play together this year. And on the court, that's
I'm here for it.
And off the court, these guys really don't like each other. That's a bad recipe for a team that already is going to have all kinds of issues on the floor this season to add off the court stuff as well.
Yeah, they'll squash that beef quickly.
It's going to be a disaster. Portland is up next. Your team's just not that good. Like, Dame is probably not ever.
Wait, did he make I thought he already made a Portland joke. Wait, did this man roast? Oh, Toronto. I thought he was, for some reason, talking about, what the hell was I saying? My bad.
We're going to be back to what he was like 3 years ago. This injury thing from last year was really strange. And
watch that.
Jeremy Grant's nice. He'll help you defend. Anthony Simons is young. He's not worth $25 million a year. And all of a sudden you're looking at a team that's like, hey, we're going to be a 50-plus win team. Yeah, try like 42 wins, 43. Enjoy that. Next up now, the Clippers. I think it's obvious here. It's all about health. Kawhi Leonard signed with the Clippers in 2019.
Tucker going for the fatality, man.
He's played like 130 more NBA basketball games than I have, and you have, people watching this video. So that tells you pretty much all you need to know about where Kawhi's health has been since he's been in LA. And if they're not healthy, they don't have a chance of doing anything, despite how much depth they have on this roster. Next up now, the Milwaukee Bucks. Gilbert Arenas thinks Giannis is bad. He doesn't think that he's improved. And obviously, we all know that people that used to play basketball at the highest levels have the best opinions, and they are always right? No? Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to take the time out to say, one, this is ridiculous. I've thought about making an entire video about this. And two, really the real reason here would be health and injuries and things like that. But more than likely, like, Milwaukee's probably going to be good. I had a really difficult time finding something really negative to say about them, but I want to take the time to say something negative about Gilbert Arenas.
They probably could have made a few more moves in the offseason, I guess.
Feels pretty obvious, yeah. Nobody wants to play basketball. Kevin Durant doesn't want to play basketball for Brooklyn. Kyrie doesn't really want to play basketball in general, and Ben Simmons is kind of terrified to play basketball. So anytime your supposed three best players aren't really super interested in playing either for your team or in general, that's going to be a problem. Next up now, the Phoenix Suns. Nobody likes each other. DeAndre Ayton wasn't really welcomed back by the team, despite the fact that he will be back. Chris Paul's always been kind of a cantankerous guy. He's getting older. And Devin Booker's looking around wondering like, hey, where's my championship? We were a couple of plays away from winning a title 2 years ago, and all of a sudden we look like we're going to be a bad team. Like, for them to win 50 games this year, I don't feel like necessarily is a guarantee.
Oh, damn. Come on now. I can't.
OKC, they've already given up. Chet is out for the year in an injury that reportedly he probably could come back post-trade deadline if they really wanted him to.
He'll be out.
They're just already going to give up. Shea's going to play half the year. Giddey's going to play half the year. And they're going to try again next year. Try their best, assuming that Shea continues to stick around. At some point, you got to wonder if he's going to say, hey, I'd like to play like real meaningful basketball games. Hasn't happened yet, but
I want to play for the Knicks.
Next up, the Sixers. You're counting on a guy in James Harden that hasn't looked like the same player in 2 years. And you're counting on him now all of a sudden going back to that guy. And really the only indication we have that that's going to happen is that he looks like he's in better shape. Congratulations, James. Like, you're actually in basketball shape. That's good. Well done. But you haven't been very good the last couple of seasons, and injuries are a part of that, and conditioning is a part of that. I don't know that that's something that you should count on. And if he's not good, as much as you like Tyrese Maxey, as incredible as Joel Embiid is, you're not a championship team. So enjoy hanging the entirety of your season on the shoulders of James Harden. Ask everybody.
I'm getting triggered for 76er fans.
Couple of seasons. Next up now, Orlando. Similar to Detroit, this is the all hype team. This is the all hype, no actual real basketball success within the last decade of the league team. Like, that's them. And they have Paolo, who I like, variety of other young guys. They haven't done anything. There aren't players on this roster that know what NBA success looks like. And now all of a sudden you're expecting them to make a play-in push? Yeah, it feels unlikely. Next up now, Atlanta. DeJounte Murray can't space the floor. Trae Young doesn't want to play off the ball. And I don't know how that combination is going to work. Not to mention the fact, even if it does work, at least a little bit, is the rest of the roster like any good? DeAndre Hunter's fine. Bogdanovich is fine. John Collins, Clint Capella. That doesn't really inspire a lot unless these two other guys are fantastic, and who knows if they will be together. Houston, another all-hype team. Like, you're not good. You don't have a good basketball team. Damn. You have a couple of good players and 1,000 different guards that all think that they're the best player on the team, and that's about it. Like, you've got some guys you've drafted in the teens. You've got a couple of top 5 picks, and that's a good start. But in terms of actually being good this year, counting on a 19-year-old and a 20-year-old, I don't really think that spells out 35 or 40 wins to me. Next up now, Dallas. Your absolute ceiling is what you did last year, which is make the conference finals, which is nice. But the reason it's your absolute ceiling is because you got actively worse this offseason than you were the year before. Hardaway Jr. is going to come back. You traded for Christian Wood. That's fine. Not a big Christian Wood guy. He can't guard. He's probably not going to be that meaningful in the postseason. And if Luka misses any time at all, like he did at times last year, you don't have Jalen Brunson anymore to carry the offense and to carry the team through tough stretches in which Luka is missing games or is out of shape or whatever the case may be. And until we see Luka show up to the season and start really well and be in great shape, you have to believe that at some point it's going to be an issue for him during the season. So already your ceiling is kind of capped going into the season before it's even started. Next up now, Charlotte. Probably outside of LaMelo, the least talented roster in the entire league. Maybe San Antonio, but like you've got Gordon Hayward who never plays, so he doesn't really count. Terry Rozier's fine. A couple of other guys, but nothing
we're really
really
gonna
all
have
that
Victor
exciting here outside of LaMelo.
Damn.
It's bad. Like there's no real other case to make. Moving on now to Indiana, you're either going to have Russell Westbrook on your roster this season, in which case Buddy Hield, Miles Turner both gone, so you're actively trying to be bad, which is why you would trade for Russ in the first place. Or you're not going to trade for Russ, and it's going to be like Tyrese Halliburton, who I like, Mathurin, some Miles Turner jump shots, like just not enough offense nearly there to even, get to 100 points most nights, much less win a lot of basketball games.
Then Nick Mathurin will be a
Chicago
bucket.
Was next, the team that for about 30 games looked really good last year, maybe 35 games. And ever since then, they basically wasted the best case scenario season for them in terms of what they were going to get out of the combination of DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. Those two guys were fantastic last year, and it quite simply didn't matter, partially because of injuries, but those injury issues are probably going to continue to be a thing, with Lonzo struggling to recover, what we've seen from Patrick Williams and at times Caruso as well. You're just, if those guys aren't healthy, you're not good, and even if they are, you're certainly not
PW will be okay.
Y'all call him PW? Another average Eastern Conference.
Probably not.
Next up now, Sacramento. Some optimism here, right? Really good offseason. Maybe Sabonis and Fox figure it out this year. Fox was really good down the stretch last year. Newsflash. You're the Kings. This is what you do. You don't make the playoffs. You might maybe push for the play-in game, but I mean, you made a win-now move last year, trading Halliburton for Sabonis, and you finished the year awful from a record standpoint.
Yeah, was it a win-now move?
This is what you do. I don't really feel like I need to be overly negative about Sacramento because it's the Kings we're talking about. Except San Antonio, who I mentioned briefly.
Kings low-key should have went for DeAndre Ayton, drafted Keegan Murray, and they would have been set. Kept Tyrese.
Earlier in the video, because I said that they have arguably the least talented roster in the entire league, and I still think that's true. Now, they're not trying to be good, so ultimately this is going to be a good thing for them.
Yeah, the Spurs have the worst team.
Like, it's fine to say. A 40-win team. They're trying to be a 20-win team, and I respect that, but it's very obvious why they're not going to be good. They don't have a lot of good NBA.
See, exposing would have been saying why the Spurs will make the playoffs. Get the damn play-in seed or something.
Now, in contrast to that, Washington, they're trying to be good, but they have the worst contract in the league on their roster in Bradley Beal. They have one of the other worst contracts in the league on their roster, Kristaps Porzingis. Who knows how many games he's going to play this year? And a really uninspiring group of young guys on the roster.
Y'all think Beal's got the worst contract?
Kyle Kuzma, who I thought was actually pretty good last year. Again, there's no upside here. There's no scenario in which this is a 50-win team. There just isn't. Your ceiling is capped going into the year, and that's if things go well. If KP is healthy, maybe you'll win like 43 games, but more than likely, your record is going to start with a 3 this year. Damn. Next up now, the Miami Heat. You're getting a little old there. Lots of injuries.
Shoot.
Losing PJ Tucker. Who knows what Kyle Lowry is going to look like this season, and you're counting on jumps from Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, defensively for Hero, offensively for Bam. All it takes is a Jimmy Butler injury. All it takes is a little bit of regression from some of the other role player guys, and suddenly you have like a really expensive, a really old, and an injury-riddled roster. And to me,
they got
Toaster Strusel, though. Looks more like 40-something rather than 50-something. Minnesota,
for that most improved.
You're the only team in the league that is paying like $90 million to 2 front court players, 2 like legitimate 5s that one of them is going to play the 4 and the other is going to play the 5. You're the only team in the league that's doing that. So either you're geniuses or more than likely you're doing something that is going to be a complete and utter disaster that only absolute brilliance from Anthony Edwards will save. And considering the fact that the guy's like 21 or 22, I don't know that's something you want to be counting on. Moving on now, the Memphis Grizzlies.
Says
hard to find some negatives here, but in general, the way that Ja plays, he's an out-of-control maniac in the best of ways on the court, but that also invites injury risk, and also, like, they're just one of those teams that's a nice team in terms of depth, but in terms of top-end talent, do they really have it? And they're already dealing with injury issues with Jaren Jackson, too. Next up now, New Orleans. You want to talk about an all-hype team? I think they could be the most talented roster in the entire league, but there's no guarantee that guys as young as Zion and Brandon Ingram are going to know how to play together, especially offensively. And as much as I like CJ McCollum, is he going to be able to get it done in the postseason if they get there? It's very easy to see a situation in which this implodes, whether it be from an injury standpoint with Zion or
CJ
just
should be the third option this season. Zion comes back healthy.
Guys to play well together and actually win,
which is great.
Next up now, Denver. If Jamal Murray isn't healthy and Michael Porter Jr. isn't healthy and those guys aren't what they were, you're like a 43-win team. As great as Jokic is, that's just what you are. And a Western Conference is going to be even better this year than it was the year before.
How many dubs did they get last year?
And last up, Golden State. Are we sure they were that good last year? Are we sure that their path towards the finals was actually all that difficult? They beat a Celtics team that was beat up, that was hurt, that had played a ton of minutes. You know,
you see him smiling there, man.
Games, maybe Clay isn't as good. They're getting older. The young guys don't step up. They lost guys in the offseason. You know, they're going to be a playoff team. They're still that level of good. But championship contenders, the rest of the league is probably going to be catching up to them. And that is the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Pretty good stuff. I liked it. That was a good video. Thank you guys all so much for watching, man. Check out Sportologic's channel. Link in the description below. Peace out, my friends. Go Pistons.